Hey, Smoke. Hi, I'm Bill, the domestic monk. So today is Sunday, December 12th, 2021, and I'm here to talk about my Mass experience from last week, actually. I'm getting a little behind on December 5th. But before that, I did want to just say how terrible I feel. Today is the day after the big storms here in Kentucky and Tennessee. And, my heart and prayers go out to the people that were affected by the tornadoes that went through there. It's just terrible. So I pray for them and all those who are dealing with the aftermath. It's bizarre. I mean, we've been getting emails and texts and calls from friends all over because we're here in Tennessee. But Tennessee's a big state. We're in the southeast corner, about halfway between Knoxville and Chattanooga. And we really only got about 10 or 15 minutes of moderately hard rain in the morning yesterday, and the rest of the day it was kind of drizzly. We didn't really get the winds and some of the other stuff that people got, even though there were tornado warnings and everything else for this area. So thanks be to God for that. Last week we attended Mass at St. Bridget Catholic Church in Dayton, Tennessee. So the two closest churches to me are Blessed Sacrament in Harriman that we went to a few weeks back, and Dayton, St. Bridget. And I was really looking forward to going to St. Bridget because it is so close. And ironically, I had a gentleman reach out to me from my video on the Basilica down in Chattanooga. And he attends, well, his local parish is St. Bridget because he's from Dayton. And he invited me to a Cursillo meeting that I went to last week, which is great because I need to find a Cursillo group out here. And of course, one of the gentlemen there was the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus chapter at St. Bridget. So, I went there. We'll talk about the church. The exterior of the church, it is the weirdest exterior church I think I've ever seen. It's kind of this big arched, sloping structure from the outside. It has a huge stained glass window at the front. And of course, you can't see that from the outside, but from the inside, it's beautiful. It is of St. Bridget. St. Bridget is an Irish Catholic saint, like my old parish, St. Killian in Mission Viejo. And it is a beautiful stained glass window. But the exterior of the church is just bizarre looking to me. I mean, it's different. It does call your attention, which I think a church should do, and it calls your attention up because of the shape of the building and that beautiful stained glass window. But it's really not my style of architecture, not my preference. The inside of that church, it is the most bizarre building. So you go in, they have a little foyer, and you go into the church, and it's typically how I like them inside. Two sets of pews facing forward, lantern lighting, beautiful arched ceiling, of course, because of the shape of that roof. They had probably one of the biggest crucifixes. I mean, that is the dominant religious piece in there, and it should be, or one of them, right there in the center of the church. It's like life size, and the corpus on the cross is very striking, just beautiful. They do have a statue of St. Joseph and the Blessed Mother up at the front, but other than that, it's pretty understated. They do have the altar and the tabernacle and the cross, just how I like it. So, giving the true presence its place on the altar is great. I really like that. They had and it's a small church. This church may hold, I don't know, maybe 200 people when it's full. It's small. They had a statue, a little devotional statue to St. Bridget over on the left-hand side of the church, and next to it, kind of a banner to Our Lady of Guadalupe, which was nice. There was a Blessed Sacrament or a Divine Mercy image at the rear of the church. There weren't, besides that big, beautiful St. Bridget stained glass windows, there were a couple of small ones on the side, but there aren't really, I think there's one window on either side of the church, and they just had kind of some colors in it, but didn't really speak in a religious context, either of those windows. The Stations of the Cross, So they were just wooden sculptures along the sides and back of the church. But what was funny, what I found funny was they actually painted a frame around them. It's just very simple Stations of the Cross with a brown frame on the cinder block wall. So it just seems like a humble church. It's like just kind of a humble. I don't think it's a very wealthy community. It's not a big community, I don't think, obviously, because of the number of seats that are available in there. The Mass itself was interesting too. So it was presided over by one priest, no altar server. So I don't know, I'm just getting plugged in here. I don't know whether it's, that he, because of COVID-19, he hasn't felt it safe to bring altar service back. I know at Aloysius Gonzaga in Washington State, the priest mentioned that was the first Mass that they had altar service, but he had none. And this priest was funny, man, had a lot of energy, little guy. Apparently he used to be a dentist, came to the priesthood later in life. But no, so it was just him that handled the Mass, and he did everything. He typically, when the altar servers washed the priest's hands and everything during the consecration, he did all that himself. The homily was good. I would say that was the best part. It's interesting listening. So I'm new here to the South, obviously, and hearing priests with Southern accents. It's you got to pay attention, work a little harder to get the message. And it's interesting. He speaks very quickly when he's saying the prayers and doing the routine things, I would say, in the Mass, even though they never should become routine. But his homily, he delivers amazingly well. He reads it, but he knows it. Like, he's familiar with the content of that homily, and he knows when to pause and when to look out, and he throws in some jokes and that kind of stuff. Very good homilist. So the homily was good last week. Honestly, I think it had to do with John the Baptist, but beyond that, I don't remember the subject of the homily, but he delivered it well. Communion was handled by the priest and one Eucharistic minister who administered the Eucharist on one side of the church and the priest on the other. The music, so, again, this is one Mass. Actually, I have gone to two Masses there. So we went back on Wednesday night for the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, but there was no music at that one. And that was kind of a dual Mass, Spanish and English. And that was, boy, I speak Spanish, but listening to him read the parts in Spanish, that was tough. The Southern accent and the Spanish, which I wouldn't define it as Castilian Spanish, proper Castilian Spanish. It was difficult for me to understand. And my Spanish isn't the greatest anyway. But the music at this Mass on Sunday, they had a piano and an organ off to the side, and they had a female Vietnamese woman who was singing it. And I don't want to be uncharitable, but it was the worst singing of any Mass we've attended. And I give her an A for effort, and God bless her. She's up there singing, and she might be called to that ministry, but it wasn't working. Like, there was no song that she sang that was on key or recognizable in any other church, and they were the basic hymns that were being sung. So I just feel like that's such an important issue. Now, I don't know what the status is at St. Bridget and how many people are coming forward and what emphasis they put on music in the Mass. And again, on Sunday morning or on one of the other Masses, they might have a different arrangement, but that just did not do it for me. I think they really could use some help there. The closing of the Mass was pretty standard. The priest gave his announcements, and then we did the St. Michael. He gave the final blessing, closing blessing, and then we did the St. Michael prayer and the prayer to St. Joseph. Now, that was, I believe that's it. So the year of St. Joseph ended on December 8th. So I think this is the last week where that prayer is going to be customary, unfortunately, because we all know I love St. Joseph. But so, it was interesting. I got to say, last week was a mixed bag. I really had high hopes for St. Bridget, you know, but I'm not sure if that parish really spoke to me. I'm still kind of feel myself drawn back towards Blessed Sacrament, which was the first church we hit when we got here in the Spring City area about 4 weeks ago now. Of course, we love the Basilica, but that's a long drive, and virtually everything is a long drive. So the closest two were Blessed Sacrament, which I believe is about 19 miles, and St. Bridget, which is about 21 miles. So it's it's about, you know, it's a crapshoot as far as which one is a further drive. They're basically the same. But again, it's only one, well, in this case, 2 masses. And I know that there is, because I was able to plug in with that Cursillo group, and I talked to the Grand, you know, to the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus. I know there is some community in that parish, but this is where we're at right now. Over the next week or so, you know, we got to kind of decide where do we want to hang our hat, and I think it's going to come down to St. Bridget and Blessed Sacrament. And we attended Blessed Sacrament again last night, the Sunday vigil, or the Saturday vigil on December 11th. And again, I think that kind of affirmed it for us. But having said that, and you know, the other thing too, I don't know, it just seems like St. Bridget, when you compare the two, to me, St. Bridget just seems, it seems like a one-man show. Like the priest kind of is handling everything there on his own. Blessed Sacrament just seemed like to me there were more people involved. The way he conducts the Mass, he has altar servers up there with him, even though they're adults. He invites people to participate more in the liturgy by making the announcements. And so I don't know. We're going to have to prayerfully wear that out. Having said that, I did enjoy my experience at St. Bridget, the music aside. And now we got a decision to make. So that'll be maybe in my next video. If you have hung with me through this process and watched these videos, God bless you. I appreciate it. It has been an interesting tour across the country. We very much enjoyed visiting these different churches along the way. And I'm not done. There are so many. You know, the gentleman who leads the Cursillo group, who reached out to me, told me about, you know, some of the churches in Knoxville that we haven't been to yet. There's a cathedral up there, and a couple other churches that he recommended. So I'm really looking forward to those, and I'll probably do a video on my experiences there. But for right now, at this point, it's time for us to get serious and decide where we're going to go and become parishioners. So thanks again for watching, and as always, siempre adelante.